What kind of city could survive for 1,500 years while standing on mud instead of solid ground? It sounds impossible. Yet one of the world's most famous cities has done exactly that, and the secret hidden beneath Venice is far stranger than most people realize. In the late 560s, a Germanic group called the Lombards invaded northern Italy. As they spread across the region, thousands of people escaped by boat into the Venetian lagoon, a maze of marshes, mudflats, and scattered islands. It wasn't an easy place to live. Formed over centuries by silt from the Po and Piave rivers and shaped by Adriatic currents, the lagoon was constantly changing. Islands shifted, appeared, and disappeared. It was perfect for hiding from invaders, but terrible for building a city. So how did Venice survive? The settlers came up with an extraordinary solution. They drove clusters of wooden piles, each 1 to 3 meters long, deep into the muddy ground. As the piles were hammered in, the mud compacted and pushed out groundwater. That created an oxygen-free environment, protecting the buried wood from insects and fungi. Although minor bacterial damage still occurred, the piles barely rotted. Even today, that same combination of wood, water, and mud continues to support Venice after nearly 1,500 years. Wooden beams and stone platforms were built on top of these foundations, and around 697, the settlers officially declared the Republic of Venice. Connecting the islands brought another challenge. Early wooden bridges often collapsed, decayed, or burned, forcing constant rebuilding. Even the famous Rialto Bridge went through several versions before stronger materials gave it lasting strength. By the 11th century, the waterways had been reinforced into stone-lined canals where slender gondolas became the city's primary transportation. Unlike most of Europe, where nobles rode on horseback, everyone in Venice traveled the same streets, or the same canals. Still, Venice had one major weakness. It had almost no farmland. That problem became its greatest strength. Located between Europe and the Silk Road, Venice became the perfect trading hub. Ships could unload cargo directly beside warehouses, while the city's maze-like canals made it difficult for enemies to attack. Before long, Venice had grown into one of the Mediterranean's greatest maritime powers. Then came a deal that changed history. At the start of the 1200s, Pope Innocent III arranged for Venice's leader, Enrico Dandolo, to build ships and weapons for the Fourth Crusade. Dandolo invested enormous resources expecting around 33,000 soldiers. Instead, only one-third arrived, and they brought less than half the promised payment. Enraged, Dandolo redirected the Crusaders against Venice's Christian rivals, including Constantinople. The campaign helped build Venice's overseas empire, and in the centuries that followed, merchants like Marco Polo traveled as far as China. During the Renaissance, Venice became one of Europe's cultural capitals. Sail-making looms were transformed into canvas workshops, craftsmen advanced printing techniques, and silica-rich sands from the Ticino and Adige rivers fueled the city's famous glass industry. Yet Venice's wealth came with a darker side. Along with silk, spices, and luxury goods, Venetian merchants also traded enslaved people. Some later gained their freedom and even worked as gondoliers in the city. Venice ruled Mediterranean trade for centuries, but everything changed in the mid-15th century when the Ottomans conquered Constantinople. Their growing naval power disrupted Venetian commerce, while new ocean trade routes bypassed the Mediterranean altogether. The Republic survived until 1797, when French attacks finally brought it to an end. After changing hands between Austria and France, Venice became part of Italy in 1866. Its trading empire was gone, but the city found a new purpose, as one of the world's greatest tourist destinations. Now, a different threat is putting Venice at risk. Rising sea levels have dramatically increased flooding. In 1900, the 900-year-old Basilica di San Marco flooded about 7 times a year. Today, it floods roughly 250 times annually. Tourism has also become part of the problem. Millions of visitors travel through the canals in motorboats, creating waves that slowly erode the muddy barrier protecting Venice's ancient foundations. For nearly 1,500 years, human ingenuity kept this impossible city standing. The real question now is whether Venice can survive the modern world as long as it survived the ancient one.